Hare Krishna, welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. Wednesday evening, as usual, we start with chanting Radha Madhava. Tonight's verse is chapter 7, verse 6. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Excuse me. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajaka Stotara Sata Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse number 6. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. Etadyonini bhutani sarvani tyupadaraya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastata. Etad, these two natures, Yonini, source of birth. Bhutani, everything created. Sarvani, all. Iti, thus. Upadharaya, no. Aham, I. Kritsnasya, all-inclusive. Jagataha, of the world. Prabhava, source. Of manifestation. Pralaya, annihilation. Tata, as well as. Translation. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit. Spirit is not created at any certain stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual energy. This material body is developed because spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then to manhood because of that superior energy, spirit soul being present. Similarly, the entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, the Super Soul, Vishnu. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine together to manifest this gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of the Lord, and consequently, the Lord is the original cause of everything. A fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, namely the living entity, may, by manipulation of material energy, construct a skyscraper, factory, or city, but he cannot create matter out of nothing, and he certainly cannot construct a planet or a universe. The cause of the universe is the Supersoul, Krishna, the supreme creator of all individual souls and the original cause of all causes. As the Katha Upanishad confirms, Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. Etadyunini Bhutani Sarvani Tyupadaraya Aham Krishnasya Jagataha Prabhava Pralayastata. As Prabhupada mentions in the purport, he mentions a very famous verse from the Katha Upanishad. Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kamam Tan Atmastan Yedupayantis Niras Tesham Shasti Shashvati Netarisham. This verse is very clear. It says that there are many, many nityas. And nitya means someone who is eternal. We know that the material energy by observation is not eternal. Matter goes through 5 principles. It takes birth, it grows, it remains for some time, it produces byproducts, and it disappears. Everything in matter, it doesn't matter. It can be a building, it can be an earthen pot, or it can be a huge empire. Whatever is made of matter will appear at some time, it will remain, it will grow, it will reproduce, it will dwindle, it will die. But the nitya, the spirit, is the opposite. The spirit doesn't take birth and the spirit doesn't die. Because of the presence of the spirit, matter actually manifests different stages of progression, of appearing and disappearing. So the nitya, or the eternal, is the spirit soul. Who we are spirit soul, and because we are present within this body, the body goes through the process of birth, old age, disease, death. The body grows, the body reproduces. Ultimately, it dwindles and dies. No one is eternal. There is no example in our history, either recorded or written, where anyone has been able to overcome the clutches of death. There is no such record. Even Lord Brahma, the supreme demigod who controls the whole universe, Lord Brahma is not a normal living entity. He is a Shakti Avesh avatar. It means that his Shakti is power. is given to him by Krishna. He is an empowered demigod. Such an important post that when there is no living entity qualified to become Brahma, Lord Vishnu himself takes that position, because Brahma is the creator and he is the overseer of all universal affairs. So even he is not eternal. Although his life is very long, billions and billions of years, ultimately, when the universe is wound up, then Lord Brahma enters into the body of Vishnu and his present life is finished. But the Nitya, the living entity, doesn't die. So in this verse, Nityo Nityanam, Nityanam means many, many eternals. And Nityo means one, Nityaha means one. So Nityo Nityaha, out of many, many eternal living entities, spirits, there is one specific one. Then Chetanas Chetanaha. Chetana means consciousness. So Chetanash means one, consciousness, and Chetanana means many, many conscious. So out of the many, many conscious beings, there is one specific one. And out of the many, many eternal beings, there is one specific one. And what is the difference? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetana. Eko Bahunam, Eko, that one, which is pointed out here, in relationship with the Bahuni, Yo Vidadati Kaman. He supplies all their necessities. He satisfies all their needs and all their desires. That is the difference between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. We come into this material world with so many desires, with so many plans, with so much previous baggage, previous karma, but the manifestation of that karma, the satisfaction of our desires, the energy and the tools and the elements to build on these desires, to satisfy them, is coming by one person, the Nitya. Then, Tan Atmashtam Ye Nupashanti Dira. One who understands this, it becomes Dira, it becomes peaceful, because he understands his spiritual nature. When you understand your spiritual nature, in relationship with the Supreme Spirit, Krishna, you engage in his service automatically, especially nowadays in Kali Yuga, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of the energy of Krishna, Srimati Radharani, by the mercy of the pleasure potency, to give pleasure to Krishna, there has been a system given which is very easy to practice and very easy to connect with Krishna. When this system becomes understood by the living entity, he engages in the service of the Supreme Lord. Because he understands, I am being maintained by this individual, by the Supreme Lord. I am being taken care of, so it is my duty to render service. Out of duty, we render service to Krishna. And what is the result? The results of engaging in a dutiful service to Krishna is that Krishna also feels a duty to serve us. As we say in English, one hand washes the other. It is natural that if I render service to you, you will feel some reciprocation is necessary. What to speak of Krishna, who is the origin of all wonderful feelings, who is the origin of loving exchanges, when he sees that one of his sons, one of the living entities, engages in his duty, and after all, engaging in the service of Krishna is our duty. It is not an option. It is not an option because you're being maintained by Krishna. So because of this maintenance, because he's taking care of us, because he's providing all our needs, it is our duty to exchange with him. And that exchange is very easy. Krishna says, Sarva dharmam parijyaja mamekam sharanam braja. Whatever duty you have, you give it all up and simply surrender to me. Connect to me. Make me the center of your life. the result will be that you'll become peaceful, you'll become happy. Why? Because aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshashyami. I will liberate you from all the sins, from all the reactions that is causing you misery while living in the material world. So this exchange is very beautiful. And it is a matter of duty. Krishna is equal to everyone. It's not that Krishna exchanges and protects the living entity out of duty and he neglects another living entity. No. Krishna himself says in the Gita, Shamoham sarvabhuteshu na medveshu astina priyaha. I am equal to everyone. No one is my enemy, no one is my friend. Just like the father. A loving father is equal to all his children. But the reciprocation between each child and the father is different. According to how the child reciprocates with the father, a relationship is built. Obviously, if the child is totally dependent on the parent, then the parent is totally inclined to give him full protection. Therefore, Krishna says, Sarva Dharmam Parijjaja, give up all your plans. Simply surrender to me. I am competent. I know how to take care of you. I know how to liberate you. I know how to bring you to the position of, what is the ultimate idea? Is to fall in love with Krishna. Everybody is looking for love. Lord Chaitanya called it the Prema Mahartha Puman. It is the topmost, beyond Kama, Artha, Dharma, and Moksha. Most people, they require some material satisfaction. They know that anyone who is intelligent, who looks at the material world, understands that these material needs are dependent on higher authority. It is not simply coming easily. You may have all the ingredients to perform an action, but unless there is permission given by the higher authority, that action will fail. Just because you have first-class medicine doesn't mean you become free from disease. There has to be the sanction of the supreme power. That is called Daivi. And Daivi is a direct manifestation of Krishna. So engaging in activities in the material world, we understand that we require the sanction of a higher authority, and we therefore pray to some demigod or even to God himself to satisfy our material desires. So this is called Artha, Kama, and Dharma. Dharma is meant to provide us Artha, or material goods with which we satisfy our lusty desires, lust, Kama. And then Moksha. When we become frustrated in trying to find happiness within the material world, then we desire to be liberated. We desire to be free. But unless we have the mercy of a pure devotee who can connect us to the personality of Godhead, if we try to achieve freedom on our own strength, then the conclusion will be that since the material world, it is so variegated, and this variegatedness, this different availability of different things don't satisfy me, then get rid of all the variety and become one with God, and that will satisfy me. So that is called moksha. But the devotee is not interested in moksha. According to our great authority, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, he said, moksha, she is waiting at my door with folded hands how to serve me. Similarly, all the yogic powers to become more powerful, bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest, to control others, to create a whole planet, all these wonderful, wonderful yogic powers are not necessary for a devotee, because he is being protected, but the master of all the yogis, Yogeshwara, is Krishna. He is the master. Therefore, in the conclusion of the Gita, in the very last verse, Sanjaya, the secretary of Dhritarashtra, who was speaking the Bhagavad Gita. He was seeing it on the battlefield, and he was reporting directly to his blind king master. He concluded, Yatra Yogeshvaro Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. That wherever there is Yogeshvara Krishna, and wherever there is Partha, the carrier of the bow, Tatra Shrir, Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir, Matir Bama. That my opinion is, wherever there is Krishna, with his devotee, because Krishna is not alone. Don't make the mistake of thinking that Krishna is alone and is your exclusive property. Don't think you can go directly to Krishna. It is not possible. You have to go to Krishna through his devotees. By the mercy of the devotee, one can achieve Krishna. Why is that? Because Krishna is the property of his devotees. If you look at Krishna Lila, and what is Krishna Lila? Krishna's pastimes is Krishna himself, who comes from the spiritual world. He doesn't even come from the spiritual world. He brings the entire spiritual world to the material realm to show us what is going on with his activities and with his pastimes. And all his activities and pastimes, from the very beginning, are connected with devotees. Even before he takes birth, his devotees like Vasudeva and Devaki who become his parents, and Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, who become his foster parents, they perform great austerities over many, many lives to have Krishna as their child. So even before Krishna comes, his devotees prepare the ground. His devotees come first. Not only his devotees, also his land comes. Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. This is the places where Krishna performs his pastimes. Jaya Shaba Lila Koilo Sri Nandanandan, Krishna Das Kaviraji, chants about Vrindavan. Keshi Gata Vamsivata, Dwadasha Kanan. The Gata, Keshi Ghat, the place in the Jamuna where Krishna killed the great bull demon Keshi. Great horse demon Keshi. Keshi was the horse demon, and Arista was the bull demon. So Keshi got Vamsivad. Vamsivad is where Krishna played his flute to attract his devotee gopis. Keshi Gata Vamsivata Dwadasha Kanan, the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Jaha Shab Lila Koilo Sri Nandanandan. The Nandanandan, the darling son of Lord Nanda, of Nanda Maharaj, King Nanda, he performed his activities. So the Dham, it is part and parcel of his Leela, of his pastimes. It is made of Chintamani Prakara, the stones, the elements, the earthly elements in Krishna's Dham are Chintamani Prakara Sarvasu Kalpa Vriksha. All the trees are desire trees. You can go to those trees in Vrindavan and they will supply everything. They will supply fruits, they will supply flowers, they will supply honey, even out of season. When Krishna comes by, the trees bow down to him, Krishna and Balaram. When they walk in the forest, the trees, they are so overwhelmed, overloaded with offering to give to Krishna that they bow down at his lotus feet. That's a devotee. A devotee has so much weight within his heart that he wants to give to Krishna. He wants to deliver it to Krishna, whatever sentiments he has. And the more you understand Krishna, the more you realize how much he is doing for you, the more you become obliged, the more you want to serve him. So the devotees, the dhammas or the places of Krishna, they are brought by Krishna into the material world. And in each one of his places of Leela, in each one of Krishna's places of pastimes, Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka, what is most prominent in those places? What is most prominent are the devotees. Krishna acts in all those dhams for the welfare, protection, and to exchange love between himself and the devotees. Once Prabhupada was commenting in one of his classes that he said, why does Krishna create the living entities? Krishna creates the living entities just like a father creates children so he can have an interchange of love. Well, Prabhupada said, so I create my disciples so there is an interchange of love. The whole purpose of studying Prabhupada's books is not to become learned. The purpose of studying Prabhupada's books is to develop attachment for him, is to understand his great gift. And understanding his great incomparable gifts, we feel affection, we feel obliged, we feel so much gratitude towards Prabhupada. And when we have this gratitude, when we have this affection, this love, Krishna in the heart becomes happy because his connection to Prabhupada is highly intimate. So because of Prabhupada's connection, we become connected also, whether we are qualified or not. Prabhupada didn't look and didn't come to the West to make us immediately qualified. He didn't introduce any of the regulative principles right in the beginning. He simply said, sit and listen. Listen to me. Listen to what I have to say. Chant with me. And by listening and by chanting, we realize more and more what a wonderful person he was. And as we realized more and more how wonderful Prabhupada was, more and more we wanted to do what he wanted us to do. We wanted to do what was pleasing to him. And what was pleasing to him is that we become pure devotees of Krishna. What was pleasing to Prabhupada is that we become engaged in pure, unadulterated devotional service to Krishna. So in Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwarka, Krishna acts for the protection and the welfare of his devotees. Therefore, his devotees are key. That is his first consideration. Don't think you can go directly to Krishna and bypass the devotees. It is not possible. Even when we become liberated and become transferred into the spiritual world, when we get our spiritual body, it will be in connection with one of Krishna's devotees. It will never be directly with his devotees. Now, when Krishna was in Vrindavan, at the height of his wonderful pastimes with the Brijvasis, when the ways of love were so advanced, so huge, Krishna left. He went from Vrindavan to Mathura. One time, when I was traveling in South India, I was dressed in devotee clothes, and one lady, one young girl actually, we were waiting for the train on the platform at a rural station. So she came up to me and she said, "You're a devotee of Krishna?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I'm Muslim, but I like Krishna. But I have one important question. Maybe you can answer." So I said, "What is the question?" She said, "Why did Krishna leave Radharani?" And it's a fact. Krishna left his most beloved, his pleasure, his queen, his wife, his all in all. And he went to Mathura. And it broke her heart, not only her heart, but the heart of all the Brijvasis. After Krishna left for Mathura, they simply cried night and day. They went through their daily duties as a matter of daily exercise, but their mind was always absorbed in Krishna, and there were constant tears in their eyes. But Krishna didn't leave because he was hard-hearted. One of the reasons that the main reason Krishna left Vrindavan is to go and kill his wicked uncle Kamsa, because his wicked uncles was persecuting him, and he was sending demon after demon after demon to kill him. This is the business of the asuras, or the demons. There are two kinds of people in this world, Daiva Asura Evacha. There are devotees and non-devotees. The business of the non-devotees, called asuras or demons, is to kill Krishna. So Krishna killed all the demons, but beyond Krishna, if Krishna had not left Vrindavan, the next thing would have been that Kamsa would have sent his army against the village of Vrindavan, and he would have devastated Vrindavan to prevent the attacks on Vrindavan, to prevent Kamsa attacking his dear devotees of Vrindavan. Krishna made the sacrifice of leaving the association and taking the battle to Kamsa. And once he killed Kamsa, again many demons came to attack Mathura, headed by Jarasandha. And to protect his devotees in Mathura, he went to Dwarka. So this is the story. So whatever Krishna does, he does for the pleasure of his devotees. So if you want to know Krishna, you have to go through his devotees. Try and understand. There are two people in this world. And Daiva and Asura. What is the nature of the Asura? Pavrittim cha nivrittim cha jana na vidurasura. Na socham na pichacharo. Na satyam teshu vidyate. That the Asuras or the demons, they don't know what to do and they don't know what not to do. Pavrittim cha nivrittim cha jana na vidu. They do not know Asura. Na socham, they are not clean. Na chacharo, they don't know what is proper behavior. Na satyam, there is no truth in them. I was just reading some of the history in our times when, because I'm an old man, I'm a devotee of Srila Prabhupada, I understand that Prabhupada wanted us to create Krishna conscious communities on this planet. He wanted to create a mirror of Vrindavan. He didn't want us just to speak of Vrindavan. He wanted us to put it into practice, to create Vrindavan, to create a piece of land, bring Krishna in the middle, and live according to Krishna's plan. Krishna's plan is to protect cows and to grow food. Annad bhavanti bhutani. No way does Krishna say, build factories and make nuts and bolts or make bombs and missiles. Nowhere. Krishna says, Annad bhavanti bhutani. Grow grains because that is needed to sustain life. Keep a few cows for the milk and the bulls to plow the land. If you just work 3 months of the year, you will produce enough food for the rest of the year. I have personal experience because I grew up on a farm. And more importantly, living like that pushes you to depend on Krishna because you depend on the rain, you depend on the seasons, you depend on the water, you depend on the agriculture, on the animals. You are depending on Krishna at every moment, and that is the key to become happy. We become happy because by nature we are dependent on Krishna. So I was thinking that the demons, they are totally against this practice. For example, India was practicing Krishna consciousness to a great extent, at least the Vedic system, the Varnashram system, Bhagavad Dharma was in place there. But from outside India, so many invaders came, and especially the Westerners, the British, they invaded India for one reason only. And the reason was to exploit the natural resources of the country. This is the demon. The demon wants to exploit Krishna's creation for his own pleasure. The devotee wants to use Krishna's creation for Krishna's pleasure. So you cannot stop the demons from doing this. The Indians tried, they failed. The Chinese tried. So many attempts were made by the British and the Americans to enter into China. They could not break it down, so they started exporting opium into China. They grew the opium in Calcutta, in Bengal, and sent it to China. They caused a huge epidemic of addiction of opium, and through that epidemic, they were able to enter into China. Same as Japan. Japan was closed. It would not allow any foreign influence. To Chinese culture and Japanese culture, as well as to Indian culture, us Westerners are considered barbarians because we do not have any spiritual culture to speak of. So even Japan, they refused to trade with the Americans. What did the Americans do? They sent a gunboat with an army, and they said, either you trade with us on our term or we will kill you. This is material life. So it is very difficult for me to think how we can implement Prabhupada's plan in this material world among the demons. It is not easy to do. We're lucky that we can even chant Hare Krishna undisturbed. And the key is that we don't have to do it. We just have to have a desire to do it. We have to try our best, and Krishna will do the rest. Trinadapi Sunichena, we have to become more humble than the grass. Taro riva size nuna, more tolerant than a tree. Amanina, don't expect any respect. Manadena, give respect to others. Kirtaniya Sadahari. That is Lord Chaitanya's formula for us. To become humble, to become tolerant, to give respect to others, even to the demons. My dear demon, you're such a wonderful person. You have created so many skyscrapers. You have created so many missiles and bombs. You control the whole material world. We understand your power, but please allow us to chant Hare Krishna, and please chant with us. Take some prasadam, and then Krishna will do the rest. Good. Thank you very much. If there are any comments, please type them in. I see that Anna Maria has joined us. Madhu Mangala Dasi, Hare Krishna Mataji, all the way from Colombia. Atmavidya Das from East Germany. Anna Maria has a question. Thanks for remind us the main purpose of Bhagavad Gita. That is a remarkable statement. Thank you very much. Bhagavad Gita is the conclusion of all the Vedic knowledge. Krishna says, because it is spoken by Krishna, and Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. Out of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedanta Krit, I compile the Vedanta. Vedavit, I am the knower of the Vedas. So what is Vedanta? Vedanta is the conclusion of all the Upanishads. The Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first verse of the Vedanta. Jammadhyasya yataha. Athato Brahma Gignasu. Now it is the time to inquire about spirit. And what is spirit? Spirit is from where everything is emanated. But it is meant for philosophers. It's not easy to understand Vedanta. And the Bhagavad Gita is a colloquial, practical explanation what is the meaning of Vedanta. Therefore, at the end of every Gita chapter, it is said, Om Tat Sat Iti Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishastu. The Bhagavad Gita is considered the Upanishad, the Gita Upanishad. Upanishad means to sit next to someone who can give you knowledge. Upanishad. The purpose of life is to find a spiritual master, to find a guru, sit next to him and imbibe from him the knowledge coming down from Krishna himself. Now we see that Shakti has also joined us from The Hague, and she has a question. When the soul accepts the material body, does it know what's going to happen? And if it did, would it accept it? That depends on each individual, Shakti. We all come into the material world by our own ideas. How we came into the material world, it is not possible to trace out. There are two kinds of living entities in the material world. One is called the Nitya Bhada, and one is called the Nitya Siddha. The Nitya Siddha, even if he comes to the material world, he never forgets Krishna. He's eternally here to encourage other living entities to become Krishna conscious. And the Nitya Bhadas, or those living entities who are eternally here, who are not conscious of Krishna. How they came into the material world, because they've been here for so long, it is impossible to trace out. So, yes, the living entity knows that by coming into the material world, he will come into the instruction is there that if you go to the material world, you will forget Krishna, or you have a good chance of forgetting Krishna. But the living entity comes for whatever reason. He makes his choices. That is independence. Independence means even if we know that by doing something, I will get a negative result, I'll do it anyhow. Just like a thief. Thief knows that if I steal, I go to prison. It's against the law. First of all, I can see by example, I myself may be caught stealing and be put into jail, still he continues stealing. Even though he understands that stealing is bad, counterproductive, criminal, it will land me in jail, he will not stop his thieving business. So similarly, when we want to be independent of Krishna, we want to exercise that independence, and Krishna says, okay, try it. Go to the material world. Live there for some time. I'll give you facilities. And when you become frustrated, I'll be there waiting for you. Good. I also have a comment from Cruz Merwin. He says, Robin Sharma said, believe in God. Who's Robin Sharma? Whoever he is, Sharma is a Brahmin, and believing in God is very good. So all glories to Robin Sharma. Atma Vidya says, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Ki Jai, Sikh Hail, all glories to the Bhagavad Gita. So if there is no more questions, we will wrap up this program today, and we will continue on Friday, day after tomorrow. I thank you for participating, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.